I'm retasting. This is the second time I taste it, and I still think that it is fairly irregular. My main point being that the wines are pretty much ready now. Lots of wines, not all of them. Lots of the wine are ready now. I had expected a little bit more. Some wines are getting a little bit tired, starting on the verge of oxidation, and have a lot of dried fruit aromas, which I don't think are the ingredients for aging. And a great wine as Brunello needs age to unfurl and become more complex. I don't see that potential in many wines.
Very good. Overall, the average standard is very good, high quality. I found many wine producers, they keep a very good acidity and very good fruitiness. So most of the wines are very well balanced.
I didn't have such good expectations for 2009 because all the wines I tasted from Tuscany until now, from 2009, they haven't been such expressive like the Brunello. So it was a good surprise, nice surprise.
I think it's a very complicated vintage for all of the producers, and again, it will be a real challenge for the consumers. So I think that the best way was to turn to the more delicate and to the more light styles. And all of those producers who really did it, they succeed. They created really awesome wines. But those who traditionally tried to think about more powerful wines, for this particular vintage they really lost, and so they are, let's say, behind of those light-bodied and more elegant style competitors.
Brunello 2009 is a very elegant vintage with nice acidity, what I appreciated very much at Brunello. Some wines are fruity, some has very nice elegance, some are quite long with a complexity and structure. And I would say it's vintage which can be approached even now, quite early drinkable. So we don't have to wait so long for maturity of these wines as, for example, in vintage 2006. So I am quite happy I was able to taste these wines.
I think 2009 is a very attractive vintage. It's quite a forward vintage. It's softer than the 2008, so it's a good contrast to 2008, which is a little bit more acidic. I think what's interesting about 2009 as against 2008 is that wines from different zones performed differently in the two vintages. So in a warmer vintage, wines from the northern zones tend to have a bit more freshness, whereas in a cooler vintage like 08, it's the wines from the southern zones that tend to have a bit more ripeness. So people who blend the two zones are in a good position. I think they're both vintages that have very definite and distinct and different characteristics.
2009, I think it's a very representative hot vintage from Brunello. I think in these hot vintages you notice a lot the difference in winemaking philosophies. So in the choice of woods, for example, in the choice of harvesting date, and you notice a lot the differences of the different subzones, so north versus south, etc. At the moment it's a little bit difficult to read on the nose, but I think for the pleasure that you could get on the palate with certain big meaty dishes, meaty stews, steaks like that, I think already you could be drinking this 2009 with a lot of pleasure and a lot of satisfaction.
I think it's a vintage of forward fruit, drinkability soon. I don't think it's a classic vintage for Brunello. I think the 2008 Reserva is not a great year for Reservas either. So this is not the best year to be here. But 2009 is good, drinking early, but not for the long haul.